Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you are safe and well. It is Sunday night and it is time for another live stream. Now, we're going to kick this stream off a little bit different because there are a few things to discuss, and then I'm going to show you a short video, about 6 minutes, something like that, related to this subject as well, and then we will be kicking off with the live show as usual. Now, this week, I have done a huge amount of testing on DJI O3 when used in combination with DJI Goggles 2, V2 and Goggles 3. It is completely clear in every possible way in my testing that there is a fundamental and what I firmly believe to be a dangerous flaw, bug, issue, whichever we want to cause it, with DJI O3 when used in combination with the DJI Goggles 3. Now, as a result of this, I have published a number of videos, and I have also published this letter that I have published on social media, as well as DJI Forum and email to DJI, as a direct piece of information, not only explaining the issue to DJI, but also highlighting the issue specifically, highlighting other issues with DJI O3 as well, issues around the use of low power mode, issues around the use of custom OSD, and up until this moment in time, we have not had any response to this. Now, alongside my videos on this, there have been a lot of people saying I am talking nonsense. There are a lot of people saying they're not seeing the issue. What I haven't done yet, though, is actually showed you, the people who may not have seen this issue, what it actually looks like, and that is what I'm going to do next. Now, this next piece is a pre-recorded video I did about 2 hours ago. It was easier for me to do this rather than do it live because it would have been a little bit messy. But this will show you, first of all, the situation with the Goggles 2 and then the situation with the Goggles 3. Now, I will be watching this with you, so I will be here in the live chat, and we will come back live on the stream once the video is finished. Now, to try and demonstrate this issue, I'm going to do two tests. We're going to do it, first of all, with the DJI Goggles 2, which you can see on my head here. I'm going to be recording that on my screen recorder here as well. You're going to have audio from this, hopefully, and audio from in here. And then we're going to swap over to Goggles 3. Now, the setup I'm going to use for this is I'm going to keep the drone here, and I'm going to go wandering with the goggles, and we're going to record it on the screen so you can see through the live feed of the goggles what happens exactly. Whilst you won't be able to see me, that's not important. What I'm going to do is go wandering. I have a specific area that I can go that I know I can cause the signal to drop when using DJI O3. And whilst I'm doing that, you're going to get to watch a nice video from Giant Ant and Cowboy. Now, what I need to do is, again, show you Goggles 2. I'm just going to go into the menu on the screen on this so you can see this for yourself. Oh, God, I've gone in the wrong one. I hate this touchpad. So, if I just go into status, if I just go into switch, you can see the ear units that are available. That is the Goggles 2 screens. You won't get this on the Goggles 3, so that just proves it there. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to arm. I'm now going to hit play on our nice little Giant Ant and Cowboy video that you get to watch. And now I'm going to go wandering. Now, whilst that's playing, you're seeing that through the display. You can see that we are armed on the O3 ear unit. So we're demonstrating this in real world conditions. I'm going to just go for a wander down, and what you'll see, the bitrate will start to change in a minute. It's starting to drop. I'm going to do something. I'm going to fold the antennas down on top of the Goggles 2 because that helps reduce the signal. As I do this, I'm just going to wander through. Now, I'm about to walk to where I know the signal starts to drop. There's a corner in the front of my house I can go to. I might actually have to bend down, but I'm going to walk through this other wall, and I'm now behind a big stone wall, and that's why you can start to see the image drop. I'm going to walk into this front corner. And what I'm going to do is lean down, as crazy as it sounds, and you should then see that the image drops. I'm just looking through the screen of the goggles a second. It's not quite gone. There we go. I'm now showing no image transmission signal with the red banner. It has completely dropped at this point. No signal at all. Now, if I stand back up and turn around, I'm going to... Oh, I've not even moved at this point. All I did was stand back up and turn around, and you can see that the signal reconnects. I'm going to again turn back the other way into the corner. Oh, I managed to lock the goggles. Damn touchpad. I'm just going to go right down into the corner again. You should then see, we should then get the loss. Boom, I've just got the blue screen with the whales. Image transmission lost. I managed to lock the screen again because of the touchpad. And then I'm going to stand up, turn around, point back towards where the drone is. I'm not going to move a minute. Okay, I'm going to take... Oh, there you go. Look, it's come back. It takes a second or two, but I've not even moved at this point. The signal's reconnected. And if I now start to walk back towards... through... and then I will come back up. It's getting very hot, even though I do have a fan running on it, but it's still working. It's holding up fine. You should start any second to hear me come in. It's raining. Hello, you should hear me reappear, and you're going to see me reappear on camera. Hello. And as you've seen, it's working absolutely fine. So I'm just going to disarm there. And as you've seen, I'm just going to pause the video because we want to keep watching that when we do it with the Goggles 3. But as you've seen, it works exactly as expected with the DJI Goggles 2. Okay, so we're now going to test this with the Goggles 3. As you can see there, on the live view, you can see it is working. My hand is wobbling in front of it. What we're going to do is continue to watch Giant Ant and Cowboy's video. Just to prove what you're seeing here is the DJI Goggles 3. I'm just going to go into the menu, into status, and into there. I've downgraded these goggles to the O300 firmware. You'll notice that there is no option for the Neo at the moment. I need to re-upgrade them again. I've downgraded them to test them on the lower firmware version. It's exactly the same on both, as I've said, but this just shows it on the lower version, which is O300, the first version that DJI released for O3. So what we're going to do is get out the menus. There we go. We're going to arm the aircraft. Motors are turning. We are going to continue to continue to play on the fantastic Giant Ant and Cowboy. And then I'm going to go wandering again. Now, we'll do exactly the same thing. And the tests this time will be in the same place. Ow, I just stood on a shovel as I walked out the door, which I left right by it. Now, I'm just walking down. You can see the bit rates in the corner. I'm just going to pop the antennas down on the top of the Goggles 3 because that helps me reduce the signal. We're moving through, and what you'll see any second now is the signal start to drop off. Here we go. We haven't completely lost yet, but it's actually getting really low, as you can see there. Oh, it's actually gone already today. Oh, wow. It's actually gone. I've not even made it to the same place. It has completely dropped now. We have the blue screen of Wales on the screen. So let me start walking close. I'm going to put the antennas back up on the goggles just to help them with the maximum signal. I'm going to keep walking. It's grey on the screen because that means there's no signal being received. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So let's make our way back. Didn't quite go as far as Goggles 2, but I have slightly moved the aircraft in the binding process. Obviously, I have to rebind, and I've actually moved the fan. The fan is now in the way because it overheated last time. So the fan might be actually playing into it as well. Oh, let me get through. You can see me coming back. There we go. Oh, I'm back. So, just to show you on the screen, we are completely at a stop. That is what I'm seeing in the goggles. There is no connection, blue whales. So what I'm going to do is grab the remote. You can see it here. I'm going to just pop it there. I'm going to disarm. So now, and then any second, boom, the live feed reconnects, and you can see that it has come back. So again, just demonstrating and proving the differences in behavior between goggles 2, goggles 3. On goggles 2, Integras and V2s, the signal comes back straight away, but goggles 3 doesn't come back until you disarm the aircraft. Right, sorry about that little delay, but I wanted to show it. Now that shows the issue in every way. Just to be crystal clear on something else, I am very lucky that I probably have over 20 O3E units. Okay, I only have one set of goggles, a 3 and a 2, but I have about 20 O3E units. I haven't tested every one. I've gone to 10 and stopped there. It is in every single test that I have done happening. Not randomly, not now and again. It is absolutely 100% of the time. Now, this can only mean one or two things. It is possible that this is goggle related and my goggles have a fault and all of the other people who have the goggles have a fault, or it is with everyone. I only have one set of goggles 3 to test this on, but I'm going to be clear. I have still not seen a single shred of evidence that shows this not happening when used properly. And there is a caveat here. If you are testing this disarmed, it will work fine. This only happens when you are using it in the correct normal operating state, which is armed. It must have received the arming command from the unit, the flight controller, whatever we're going to call it. And as I said, this isn't random. This isn't now and again. It is every single time. Now, the truth is, this is probably some really stupid quirk that they've missed in the firmware that will be fairly straightforward to fix. They may be working on it. This is absolutely fixable. I don't want anyone to think this isn't. It has to be a firmware quirk. It's got to be some stupid thing that they've done somewhere in the code, and it's ignoring the goggles on reconnection. And here is the fundamental. I showed in that video, right? In my original video, I showed what was happening on the spectrum analyzer. I know the goggles and the ear unit are trying to communicate because there's a shift in behavior when you get it back into range, but it's just not connecting. It is almost like it is ignoring the authentication keys. It's almost like it's being told, oh, I don't like that. Now, you can test this really easily without doing that. And what you can do is turn on your drone, arm your aircraft, and then power on your goggles. That is the quick way if you want to test this, because what should happen is, regardless of the armed state of the O3E unit, it should connect. The real quick way, though, if you're out there and you want to test this, you don't have to go to that extent. All you have to do is turn on the drone, arm it, fire it up, and then power up the goggles, because when it's in an armed state, it won't connect. And it's as simple as that. So, look, I am fairly confident they will fix this, because DJI has always fixed their major issues, and I do deem this a major issue. They have always done it. This isn't about criticizing DJI. This is a horrible, nasty bug that has slipped through, and it needs to be fixed. What's more frustrating is that it isn't fixed yet. But the truth of the matter is, for those of us who have been around DJI for a long time. The hardest part with DJI is getting the message to the right people, okay? The most difficult thing is getting the message to the people who matter. That's not DJI support. That's not DJI forum. That is the people in the back end. I have made a lot of noise about this for one very good reason, because A, it is serious, and B, the only way you really get the right attention at DJI is by making a lot of noise. Now, over the last few days, there's been a huge amount of comments on Facebook that apparently I post clickbait videos all the time. I only do it to get clicks. Half the stuff I say isn't true, or I'm constantly posting corrections, which is funny. What there appears to be is some underlying current ever since I did the Rotor Riot stance. And the truth of the matter is, because I said bad things about some people's favourite companies or pilots, they don't like it. However, the truth of the matter is, sometimes you've got to go loud to get DJI to fix this. Now, where do you stand with this today? I don't recommend you fly, is my personal stance, because it just won't reconnect. But if you're just flying a field and you're happy to take the risk, then that's on your choice. But I have to give a stance that, without explaining every scenario to people, saying if it's this stance you could do this and that stance you could do that, at the end of the day, you make the choice. If you are able to happily carry on and get your quad back if it falls out the sky, that's fine. What is, though, crystal clear, right, is that I've just thought of a test I haven't done. I'm going to have to do another test after this stream finishes. I've just thought of a test scenario that I haven't done. It doesn't really change anything, but it could explain something. Okay, sorry. You saw live on here my brain churning something over. Sorry about that. DJI will fix this. DJI will fix this. This is a silly oversight, is what it is. And it will get done. It has to get done. What is really concerning is the amount of people starting to post that they're losing drones. The amount of aircraft I'm starting to see people lose is crazy. It's worrying now. My tea is next to me. It is worrying. So, look, what isn't clear as well is if the random loss of signal is related to this. It's hard to say. You know, this is very easily testable and repeatable. And as I've said, every time. Every single time. But let's see what happens. I haven't heard anything from DJI. I have had a bit of a deeper response than just DJI support from Twitter. But it was DJI support, but it had a little bit of wording that does make me wonder where that's going to end up. They will fix this. But I'm just more concerned about how many people are going to lose their drones in the meantime, because that's shit. Let's be honest. Goggles 2 and Vista Video freezing. There is always a risk the more you update. Victor, you have read my mind. Here's the truth. The only test I have not done is with the DJI remote, because I generally don't use the DJI remote. And actually, all of my bind and fly quads are not set up to use the DJI remote. So as such, I wouldn't be using it. I wonder I wonder if this is some stupid quirk that because the remote's not there. Sorry, someone else might have said it as well. I do wonder. That's the only test I haven't done, and I'm going to have to do that after the stream. But look, let's be honest. It really doesn't change anything for most people. And I'm not even sure if that works. I'm comfortable saying it works all of the time, but I do wonder. I could test that now. If people want me to, I can test it now, or do we want to get on with the stream? Because it's a bit of a weird thing to do on stream. So far, everyone's saying, yes, please test. God. What have I got I can test that on? In theory, all I need to do is make sure that the remote is bound. You're not going to get a recording of it. You're only going to get me telling you what it's doing. I'm going to have to power... No. It won't take long. It'll only take 2 minutes, to be honest. The good thing is I have a setup. I can go to a specific place, right? And make this happen very quickly. So I will know instantly, if I'm honest. I will know instantly. The only thing I will need to do is bind this to it. Right, let's power on. I use a bench power supply for testing. And no, there are no props on this. I'm going to have to use 2 remotes, in fact, because I'm going to have to use one to actually arm it. We're supposed to take your word on it. What's this channel coming to? You meant to take my word on everything. Because frankly, I'm right. Right. And I'm not saying that because I'm big-headed. I'm saying it because it's bloody true. Right, let's do this quickly. Facebook, I tell you something. Facebook is turned into a cesspit. My God, has Facebook gone bad. You get some bloody nonsense on Facebook. Sorry about the beeping. Give it a second. This one's a bit slow to connect. Come on. I'm waiting for the Express ELRS dev team to fix that. I don't know why this one is so slow to connect. Really weird. Really weird. Right. I think this was bound to goggles too. Oh, am I in Avatar mode? I am. I was testing it on the DJI Avatar 2 as well, just to see what it did. Right. Let me just rebind this. There we go. So the remote is connected now. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to have to go running with that as well. Right, you're going to get a blank screen for 2 minutes. I'm going to arm. So you guys can see. No props. Let me just get the wires away from the motors. We're spinning. I will be back in 2 minutes. back. And the survey said, nope, no different. Sorry. Still blue. You guys won't be able to see that. Well, you can see that. Wait for the disarm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Straight back in. So that answers that. So, the truth is, it's broke. They're going to have to fix it. There's no... The O3 isn't actually connected to the flight controller, but that won't change that. S-Bus isn't connected. That's not going to change it. No, I've tried. Look, there's no scenario where doing any reboots on anything works. It's screwed. The truth is, it's broke. They need to fix it. That's it. End of. So, that's where we are with the Avata. Sorry. That's where we are with DJI 3 today. Because you have to keep the remote near the goggles, Lon. Remember, the remote talks to the goggles. If you separate the remote from the goggles, it won't work. Remember, the remote's into the goggles now. So in normal use, your remote's always going to be with the goggles. The remote talks to the goggles talk to the ear unit now. Let me just turn that DJI remote off. That one there. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Macron. I'd appreciate that. So, that's where we're at. The second there's an update, I'll tell you about it. I can do no more. I've shouted, I've screamed. I can do no more on this. I'm the only one talking about this. You know, you're not seeing anyone else really pick up the mantle. You're not really seeing anyone else. It'll probably get picked up at some point. But right now, I can't scream any louder than I have. I literally... Yes, it flies. It happens on all remotes now. I've tested that. Hopefully, when they fix it, it will all be good. So, that's where we are on that today. Now, the next thing I just want to quickly talk about is the Neo, because there was a video posted, and I meant to queue this up and I forgot. Let me just see if I can find it, right? It was on YouTube. A gentleman was flying his Neo in the UK, and DJI Neo issue, and he started getting basically GPS issues. He was flying it over a load of houses and everything. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not going to comment on his flights because they're not what I would do personally. However, he was posting about that he had some random behavior. His sat count stayed the same. I just need to see if I can find this video. Neo GPS. And he started to make some like strange sort of, well, not strange. He started to sort of suggest that he thinks the Neo isn't got a strong enough processor and it wasn't able to cope with recording and flying at the same time. And look, the Neo, I'm just scrolling through my watched videos and hopefully it'll come up in a minute. The Neo has the same SoC as the Avata, so it's the same. However, there is something that I spotted in my teardown that I think is worth people understanding. Now, I think this is the video here, okay? Oh, let me mute this and go to the desktop. And I need to turn on NVIDIA Broadcast. And great, NVIDIA Broadcast has the wrong camera attached. So now I need to fix that as well. NVIDIA broadcast. So he... Oh, I've just changed it and then it adds another ad. You gotta love YouTube, haven't you, for ads? Camera, come on. Source one. Literally add to... Oh my God, third ad in a row. Right. So, he was flying above here and he started to get the drone sort of disappear by itself. He started showing it, I think it's here. So when you start seeing the video, the drone started to sort of go off to the side. And he was using it sort of a bit as a camera drone. And then he started, note the sat count, and started to get issues. And it gave him a GPS warning. Now, I actually think I have a feeling I might know what is going on here. Now, the first thing to understand about the Neo is this. It is one of DJI's first drones not to use a U-Blox GPS chipset. The Neo is using a Chinese chipset that is based as part of the Wi-Fi system. And you can see here he starts to get issues, look. The GPS sat count's okay, but he starts to get issues. And he starts talking about issues with software and stuff like this. But no, the Neo has a non-U-Blox GPS module, but it also has a rather unusual antenna setup for the GPS in the sense of it's not using a GPS patch antenna. Instead, it is using a standard sort of omnidirectional antenna that can not only pick up signals from above, but it will pick them up from below as well. Now, I suspect here he had a HDOP issue, which is horizontal degrees of precision. If you don't know what that is, it's basically the quality measurement you would use for GPS. He starts getting sort of TBE, if anyone's ever had TBE, but the sat count remains high. But the interesting thing when you look at the Neo is, when you look at the board, under here is the main chipset. I didn't get it out, but it's Chinese. But the interesting thing is the antenna, because the antenna on this, which is this long thing here, it's not a patch antenna. It is basically a flexi antenna, which will not only pick up noise from above, but it will pick up noise from below. And as a result of that, I would expect the GPS performance on this drone to probably be quite a lot poorer than most of DJI's other products, especially when you are flying around buildings, objects, or anything that may have some transmission. And that is what I suspect happened here. My money will be HDOP, which is a drop in GPS quality. But look, people need to understand, this drone is not designed for flying over people's houses at long range. I'll be honest, I think DJI should have put a range restriction on this. But it is not even a DJI Mini. It is fundamentally cheaper made than that. And it is going to be susceptible to getting GPS interference. And it is not going to work the same. It is just not going to work the same. So, does the Neo have an issue? Not really. Its issue is its designed intended use. That's the truth. Good video quality? Yeah. It's not even an Avata. Technically, it's an Avata, but it's not even an Avata. You know, they have really cut corners on this drone. They have really cut corners to cost, because that's why it's so damn cheap. And the irony is, the areas that you'd have thought they would have cut corners on, they didn't. It has the Eagle 3T chipset. It has the O4 chipset. The areas they've cut the cost on is the camera, the battery, and the GPS, really. It's crazy. But yeah, it doesn't really have... I don't think it's got a fundamental issue. But what people need to understand is this drone is not a Mini. It is not a Mavic Mini or a Mini 2 or a Mini 3. It's not even... It is, as Lon has said, it's a Tello Pro is probably the term to use. It really is a Tello Pro. The Neo should be a Wi-Fi drone. You know what, Lon? You're probably not wrong. They should have released it with a cheaper remote controller, kept all the functionality the same. Although it is pretty good in acro mode. So, yeah. It's great value, but you've just got to be careful with it. So, anywho, that's it on the Neo. We're not going to spend much more time on that. Now, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comment section. I will try and answer them. At this point in the show, I'm just going to remind you, I do have a Patreon, and I do have a Buy Me a Coffee as well, if you'd like to support the channel. There is also my FPV wiki. If you haven't seen it, I have made some changes to the wiki. I'm doing some work on it very, very slowly. But there is a new section been added for OpenIPC. All of the categories have changed. I've now put header categories in. You'll also notice there's some names of supporters of the channels down the side here. Grey Arrows, Your FPV, and 3DXR. Just to be clear on this, these are not sponsors of the channel in general. They have supported the channel in specific ways. Grey Arrows Drone Club supported us with the Avata 2. Amazing support on that. It was incredible. Your FPV are a retailer that is just keeps sending me stuff and doesn't want me to mention them at times. They're just happy to send in stuff. They're a great supporter of this channel. He sent me that 03 air unit that allowed me to do the diagnostics for the diodes, and then Ben at 3DXR, if you don't know who Ben is, and then they're down here as well as channel supporters. They don't sponsor the channel on a weekly basis or anything like that, just to be crystal clear, but they are people who have supported the channel. And then below this, we've got the other YouTube channels. So you've got Lazy Bardwell, Rosser, Frames, UAV Tech, the Wood Grinder, Mr. Nick, 60,000 subs, Burns, Ciati, and then you've got all the other channels down here as well. But yeah, I've sort of moved stuff around. So now if you go under DJI, you've got the list of stuff under here now. It's all listed slightly separately for it. So if you don't know, we've got that as well. And then there's OpenIPC. I haven't had time to update this much yet. I haven't even put the pictures up. I've got the Mario yet. The info is on here, but the Mario's in front of me. I haven't even done the run cam pictures yet, so I've got to get all of them done as well. So all of that's got to be done. So yeah, simple as that. Now, just looking down the chat, I know you have fancy PSU power drones, etc. on the bench, but would you recommend a cheaper one? Yeah, look, so, Simon, I am a person who is horrific for killing lipos. And I am now trying my very best to use power supplies. There are lots of really good chargers that make good bench power supplies as well. But I would go to something like AliExpress, right? And get yourself something like one of these. These are really good. These units here, right? I've seen these before. But there are lots of cheaper options out there. You can see they look $54. I'm probably going to order one of these in to talk about on the channel, actually. But most of the chargers will act as a bench power supply too. And that's probably the best way of doing it. The only thing I will say is I'm not sure how well most of the chargers hold up to direct shorts. The good thing with these supplies is they will handle a direct short quite well. I might order in one of these to discuss on the channel. But yeah, something like this. Get yourself something that will short the ground. You actually want something, right? Yeah, my P200 unfortunately blew up. I don't recommend any Toolkit RC products anymore simply because of the lack of reliability. The really good thing with getting some of these supplies is that you can use them for voltage injection. They will handle current control really well, and it's really handy for bench repair work. So something like that. But look, these are really quite cool because they're designed to be used in like a housing, and they allow you to build your own power supply if you want one. But yeah, they're quite cheap. $51 euros. What are they in dollars? US dollars. USA. Oh, United. Oh, it's not even finding the US. But yeah, something like these is definitely worth a look. They're generally very good, and you can use them as well as a direct short in PSU. I have a habit, though, of destroying lipos on the bench. I've destroyed so many batteries. We're moving on to the HDZero stuff next. I've ordered a Boxer Crush, and I was using the DJI Remote 2. Do you have a video how to bind the drone? Right, you will need to add a receiver, though, to your drone if you haven't ordered one. So if you've ordered a Boxer, you need to add an Express LRS receiver. Lipo charger recommendations. Today, I tend to only use ISDT. Being honest, I've been sent a load of Toolkit RC ones in the past to use, and they've all gone horribly wrong one way or another, apart from one. The Sky RC little one that I was sent for review is still banging along absolutely fine. I've got no issues with that. But I bought myself a bunch of Toolkit RC, not Toolkit RC, sorry, ISDTs. ISDT were meant to send me some chargers to review, but they never turned up. So, can't review something that didn't arrive. Hotter, yeah. They were also meant to send me some chargers to review. Is a G303 issue solved already? No, it isn't. Far from it. So, the next subject. So today, HDZero released this. The HDZero AIO5. Now, I put a video out about this today. I was really, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to make the release. The flights you saw in it, I did this morning. It's been horrible here in the UK. If there's anyone who's in the UK, you'll know what it's been like. Today's weather is just horrific. But HDZero have released the world's first AIO for HDZero. There is a little bit of controversy around this board on the Discord servers, and under the radar a little bit. There is a little bit of discontent from developers of open source projects that weren't consulted about this product. I'm just relaying what I've been told and heard. And it's not that the product is bad, but HDZero have made the board, and they did it off an existing target, and there was no input from, for instance, as I understand it, the Betaflight dev team or the Express LRS dev team. It does use an SPI Express LRS receiver. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have an issue with that. There is no way in hell you are getting an ESP32 on this board. Right? There is just no space on this board at all. You can see it there. It is, and I showed it under the microscope, it's one of the most densely packed PCBs I think I've seen in FPV. Some people are unhappy about the fact it's an F411. There have been question marks over the fact of the SPI Express LRS receiver and just some of the choices. But overall, I think it is incredible what Carl has been able to achieve with this. And it is incredibly dense. I do think we probably need a bit of segmenting now. You know, if I put up some of my own footage from this, from under the microscope, right? Let me just go into the folder. It is bonkers when you look at this board under the microscope. It really, really is. It's just crazy how compact this unit is, you know. So
Okay, so
we don't want my sound. There we go. So you can see the board there. It is insanely densely packed. You've got your F411. You've got your ESC controllers. You've got voltage regulation here in the middle. Some people complained about micro USB. I do know Carl has put a lot of effort in. This board is substantially thicker than any of the other boards that I've seen. I actually show that in my review. I'll put it up in a minute. It is incredible how densely packed it is. SPI has become a bit of a sort of no-no in the Express LRS world, but I do think that there is a place for SPI in Whoops, because you are not getting a ESP32 on this board. If we flip it to the other side, let's just flip it over. You can see, first of all, I'll show you the thickness in a minute. If we flip it over, at some point I flip it over. Here you go. Here's the other side of the board. You know, there's just no... Oh my God, what is that? Oh, okay, fair enough. What was that about? There's just no space on this board. There really, really is no space. It is incredible for what it is. Shaves off 0.6 milliseconds. Yeah, I think in Whoops, SPI is absolutely acceptable. Not in anything else, but I think in a Whoop board, it should be deemed as absolutely acceptable. Because what else are you going to do? Now, as for why the dev teams weren't consulted, I did ask Carl, and I think Carl's made this in cooperation with Happy Model, and I think there was just deemed it not necessary from that side, as I understand it. They just felt it was an existing target. They'll move everything around and do what they need to do. I personally think that was probably a bit of an oversight. They should have worked with the dev team, but there's no requirement for that to be the case. It does have a UFL for the antenna, not the Express LRS one. That's the Express LRS one there. I haven't done the drift testing on it yet, but I have flown it, and I haven't had any issues. But I do know this board has been through a lot of testing. The UFL will rip out, lol. They have been quite soft on some of these boards, but it is incredible how densely packed this is. Now the board is 14 layers. That is what Carl had to do on this board. I do know it is thicker than many of the other boards when you put them side by side, and I do put them side by side. I'm just looking for that bit of footage. Where is it? It's got to be here somewhere. Is it this one? Yeah, there you can see the thickness of the board, right? So it's 14 layer PCB, and it's thicker than most of the other PCBs on the market. It's substantially thicker. There's also a lot of really nice features. You'll notice fully wired and fully castellated pads. No, it was probably the camera. This camera does have rolling shutter, the camera used above. No, it's not bent. It was just the rolling shutter of the camera as I was moving the board. This camera is a bit weird. This new microscope one I've bought for above the bench, it sort of... as you move, you see, if you look there, it's not bent, it's straight. But when it was side on, it almost looked bent. See there, look, it's the rolling shutter on the camera as it's... See there, it looks actually bent, but it's not. It's a weird effect on this camera. But yeah, it's a really, but really well made. Really, really well made. Thick board. Quite interesting indeed. Justin has just brought up a really interesting subject. I want to find a bit of footage, right, that puts it side by side to the other board, because when you do that, it is really incredible how the difference in thickness between them. Here we go. I think I put these... Do I do it in this one? No. I put them side by side with the other board, and it's quite crazy. No, it's not that one. Is it this one? No, it isn't. I hate it. I don't label my footage, so when I'm trying to find something, it gets bloody awkward. Oh, I wonder if it's that one. Yes, there you go. Found it. So there you can see. So the board at the top there is the HDZero AIO VTX, and the board at the bottom is the new one. So you can see the thickness difference in the PCBs. You really can. Carl has put a lot of effort into making sure this board is solid. There you can really see the difference. It's quite crazy. But yeah. Yeah, there you can really see it. Is it fragile? Not in my test so far, because I smashed it up about 8 times today. So, yeah. Needs to be displaced the heat. Yes, it does get very hot. Very, very hot. For those who haven't seen the video, I also do thermal testing as well, where I do demonstrate the board under the thermal camera. We do get it under the thermal and take a look at how it behaves, what it looks like. That's not the right footage. Probably that one. What I've got to try and do is plug the USB in as I'm doing it. So there you can see it under the thermal camera. Probably the right video is this one, because this will be the one where I power it up. Wait for it. There you go. So wait there, let me start it. So now you'll see me actually power it up. There you go. Now this is it on USB. It does get surprisingly hot on USB, and I have spoke to Carl about this, specifically this diode that is getting hot under USB. You can see there the power amplifier. Yeah, very interesting. Now, there is a very interesting subject around this, which has been mentioned already, and that is the fact that the 2 cameras for this board are analog HD. Now, this is a very interesting subject, and I actually think in FPV we've missed a little bit of a trick with regards to analog HD, right? Now, for those who don't know what analog HD is, it is a traditional analog carrier setup, but you just cram in more lines. Now, I do have a video I've been working on this for quite some time, and I need to get it finished. I actually have a load of the spectrum analysis footage from this already. And the basics are, you've got... Let me just see if I can find the right image. Is it this bit of video? Let me just find. Here is actually an analog HD video signal. Let me just get into it, and you start to have a look at each line, and when you get into it, if we get right in, you start looking at each line of data. You've got your back porch, your front porch. You've got your color burst here. This is the lines, right? Each of these is a line. And the very basics are, when you look at this, and if you don't understand the difference, from this point here to this point here is the amount of TV lines. So there to there is the amount of lines. So on a traditional PAL, you might have 576 or 480, depending on what you're using, whether it's NTSC, PAL, you would have 576, 480 lines, each line being drawn across the screen. On analog HD, there's just more lines. So this is bigger. That's all it is. You just cram in more lines of data. And I have a video on this where I've been working on it for some time to try and demonstrate the difference. And the basic difference is you're just dramming in more lines. So analog HD is absolutely HD. You know, what is interesting about analog HD, and this is a little bit like a valve amplifier for audio, right? There is no question that the analog HD cameras have an analog look to them. So if I get some of my footage up for this board from flights on this, okay? There are people who are going to say, oh, it looks like analog, right? Well, it does look like analog. There is absolutely a look and feel to the footage that is analog. But there is, without doubt, more resolution in the image. Okay? There just is more resolution in the image. But it does have an analog look and feel to it. You know, when you look at it here, and I've paused it here, you wouldn't get this detail in analog. You just wouldn't. Sorry, non-HD analog. There is more detail, but it has an analog feel to it. A bit like a valve amplifier versus a transistor amplifier. There is absolutely a look and feel to any of the analog cameras. Oh, I crashed again. Shock horror. But that isn't to say there isn't a place for analog HD in the market. And I think the only reason we really don't have analog HD in an analog setup is because there really isn't any off-the-shelf chipsets that support it from a video transmission perspective. There are loads of cameras. You know, any camera that is basically 800 TVL or more is HD. It's that simple. The 800, you see these cameras, the 800, the 1200, the 1500 TVLs. They're all HD cameras. They are capable of delivering high-resolution HD images. The issue you have is we just don't have video transmission and reception chipsets that allow us to integrate that into an analog FPV system. So what you're then doing is plumbing that high TVL image into a small pipe. And the easiest way to think about it is you've got a huge amount of data that you're trying to force through a small pipe, and as a result of that, you're leaving some of it behind. And that's what happens. There's no reason you couldn't make analog HD the norm. But the truth is, analog HD is not a widely accepted standard. And as a result of that, within the CCTV world, there's about 8 or 9 different standards used for analog HD, because that's where analog HD is really taken off, is in CCTV. It's really quite big in CCTV, but they've all got their own standards, basically. What you don't have is like a traditional PAL and NTSC standard for analog HD. There are standards, and there's a number of them, but what there isn't is cheap chipsets that you can integrate into transmitters and receivers that would allow us to use it. And that's what the problem is. The transmitters, the bandwidth, that's the issue. It's not the cameras. The cameras, we've got the cameras today. That Foxeer camera you might have, which is 1500 TVR, is there. The range advantage of analog would suffer a little bit too. Yeah, there's always a payoff. Everything you pump in, there's always a payoff. But we could get more from analog. We could get more from analog. But the truth of the matter is, and here's the real crux of it, the reality would be, it would be cost prohibitive, because there isn't one standardized platform for analog HD. Anything anyone made would be low volume, and it would probably be as expensive as digital. So then it gets to the question of what's the point? Because you then may as well move into digital. That's the problem. And that's the issue today, and why we really don't have it. Because for someone to lay money in and develop in a system, it just not worth it. Yeah. And look, I see a lot of comments from people saying HDZero looks like analog. It's much better than analog. And the video doesn't do it justice. The DVR doesn't do it justice either. The DVR is good, but it's not great. But I can tell you it definitely looks better. But what it does have is an analog feel to it. And that's, you know, as a result of the analog HD cameras. I think Carl's been a little bit of a genius, if I'm honest, with his move to analog HD on the Whoop boards. Do I ever take off in this video? I had one where a battery was low and it just didn't take off. I think that was my first ever flight on it, so I probably want to go this one. I think I probably crashed quite rapidly, looking how short this video is. Oh, I think this was the dead battery. I had one where the battery was dead. I thought it was charged and it wasn't. The weather today doesn't... The weather today was not great. This was me just trying it around the trees. But it does have an analog feel to it and an analog look to it. And some people like it, some people don't. It's preference. It's what you prefer. I think this definitely looks HD. I think it definitely looks okay. I think it's there's nothing wrong with it at all. For whoops, I think this is a game changer. Genuinely, I think it is a game changer. You know, you wouldn't see in between the trees here. You just wouldn't see easily with analog in between the trees. Yeah, it made the dots black. Yeah, I've said that before, Skynet. I crashed into a bush there and it ended. And I was like, no, can't get out of that. Is it this one where I test it on the open field? No, it might be this one. There's one of them where we take it. Yeah, this, look, I didn't have a lot of... the weather here was not great. You'll see the sky here in a minute. So this just gives you an idea of how the camera looks. This is the Lux camera. So how the camera looks. It was really grey. It was really horrible today. But this just gives you an idea of how it looks. But you wouldn't even see, in this darkness here, DJI would be horrific in this. I built this quad up and flew it. This isn't, I was sent the board, not the quad. I haven't even tuned it. I put it in. I didn't even have time to tune. I just put the camera in, on the board in, and flew. I converted my old ancient Mobula 6 to it. I wasn't sent the drone. I was just sent the board. So I think a lot of the other KOLs were sent the drone to look at as well. I haven't. I wasn't. Carl just sent me the board. So, look, I'm not a Whoop guy, so I guess that's why I wasn't sent the drone to try. I would like to try the Mob 6 freestyle. That would be quite nice. That would be quite cool to try it on. But yeah, I actually think it's a pretty big game changer, this. Something interesting is, I was looking earlier. I wouldn't mind converting this. Let me go to the overhead. I'm tempted to try and reconvert this with that board and see how this performs. So this is the Firefly. I did a review on ages ago. And I wouldn't mind, because I reckon I could cut the weight down on this substantially. This is HDZero, but it's a dual board setup. I think I could probably get the weight down on this a lot with that board. I'm tempted, because you can see the two PCBs on this one. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to help just get the weight down on these boards massively. Now, alongside this, you do have the two cameras. You have the Lux camera and you have the Eco. But look, I think it's great to see. I just don't see a downside to this at all. I genuinely don't. Price-wise, the board is... let me just get my drink because it's getting a bit hot. $99 for the board on its own, and you're going to pay $29 for the Eco camera or $45 for the Lux. I think the Lux looks really nice. The Lux is basically a Nano version 3 is what the Lux is. But yeah, really interesting board. Carl is continuing to develop. He does show about the antenna and the information on it there. Really crazy. Really crazy. There is obviously going to be the Happy model, which is the Mobilistic Freestyle HD pre-order. So there's going to be this. That's down to 19.6 grams. What does mine weigh converted? Let me just try. I don't have a good small set of scales. I keep meaning to try it. Did I fly with it? That's the footage I was just showing you. I flew it today. Where is it? It's here. What is mine at? They say they've got that down to 19.6. What have we got on here? Let's change the units. Yeah, so I'm 22 grams. My converted is 22 grams. If my scales are right. So you 19.6, you're shaving 2 grams off it on a conversion, on a non-conversion. I would like to try that. That does look a nice quad. Although it is bare bones. It is very bare bones. Let's be honest. That is as bare bones as it gets. There's no protection on that at all, is there? $199 now, quite cheap. But 19.6 grams. 1S 300 milliamp hour, yeah. The only downside is just how much power these boards draw. You don't get a lot of flight time on these. You just don't get a lot of flight time. And there is a race version as well, I believe. So that's the freestyle. There's going to be a race version as well. So what's the race version coming at? 19.3 grams. Wow. They've cut out even more plastic. Crazy, innit? Absolutely crazy. It is basically a flying board. On the race version, the video doesn't cut out to 1.5 volts. Well, it should be the same because it's the same board. So it should be the same. I don't believe there'll be a difference between the boards because it's the same PCB. Crazy though. Crazy. Oh, I suspect they've got the race down because it's the Eco camera, is it? Is it the Eco camera? Yeah, that's the Eco, and I suspect the Freestyle is the Freestyle the Lux. Yes, there you go. So the weight difference is the camera. I got my original HDZero 65 down to 19 grams, even with a regular camera. Yeah, see, that's 22. So, and look, I'll be honest, I could shave that a little bit. I've not done a lot of work on this to shave it down. There's probably 0.5 gram of grass on it, if I'm honest. I put the motor plugs on as well. I had to solder the motor plugs to get it to work, so I did do that. Yeah, I converted my analog one. I don't know how much is a happy model. I don't know how much I absolutely freaking hate Happy Models website. I hope they've updated it, because their website is usually an absolute crap show, especially when it comes to downloading freaking info. So I'm not looking for the HD whoop. We're looking for the analog. Their website is just a joke. So here we go. Modular 6. What's the price? Can you buy it? How much is the Modular 6? The standard Modular 6. So that's, these are 100 quid. So you're paying about £100. In the UK, £99 on your FPV. So you are paying for the digital. You're paying basically 100 quid for the digital. Version 3, look, 91. It's basically my version, I think that is. That's basically what I've got here. I don't know, mine's a few years old now. So I do know Beta FPV have some new stuff as well. Like, I'm not big into whoops, but I do know Beta FPV have some new boards. Beta FPV don't really send me anything anymore. I don't communicate with them. I've been quite critical about them in the past. But I do know Beta FPV have some really small boards for whoops. I was looking, it's incredible how small. So if you look at some of their flight controllers now, look at this new airbrushless, this thing, right? The 4-in-1, it's $45. And I've had a few Beta FPVs. I had a board which had a shitty gyro and it just drove me nuts. But look how small that board is. What you could say is, and I believe there is an ESP32 on this board, am I right? Which would mean it's officially endorsed by the ExpressRS dev team. 2.9 to 3.6 grams. See, the HDZero board is 5.6, I think it is, off the top of my head. But 2.9 grams. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. But is the 4-in-1... So what's the 4-in-1 versus 5-in-1? No VTX on the 4-in-1? Is it? What's on the 5-in-1 that's not on the 4-in-1? Or is it no ExpressRS? ESC. Ah, there's no ESC on the 4-in-1. No, there's got to be an ESC. Ah, ExpressRS is the 5-in-1. Okay. So what's the weight difference? 2.9 to 3.6. Yeah, so it's worth getting the 5-in-1. How much is the 5-in-1? It's $50. That is cheap, isn't it? But then again, if you compare the pricing of that to HDZero, you're $50 more, you're getting HDZero. So you're not paying that much more, to be fair, for the HDZero board. When you actually look at the pricing, the HDZero board is great value, actually. you're getting HDZero for $50. And it's better than analog. It is, without doubt, better than analog. It just is, in every way, better than analog. I do think you could see HDZero really take over the whoop scene if they get this right. The 4-in-1 Vision... the 4-in-1 Vision 1.0 puts out like 1,000 milliwatt on the VTX until it instantly gets so hot it drops to 700 milliwatts. Wow. Sorry, Sabang FPV. I haven't seen it. I'll do a QA in a minute and you can ask again. Square boards don't fit nice in a thing. Oh, the HDZero's gone in. But yeah, I did see this. Reload G's fine analog groups because of weight. Yeah, 100% Justin. 1 gram is pretty heavy on a battery. Yeah, no, you are right. Look, I'm not a whoop expert, and I said this. I am not a whoop expert because, you know, every gram counts. But no, so the HDZero board's out there. Very cool. Very interesting. Sorry to the Betaflight devs who might be a bit upset. And the ExpressRS team devs, but the ExpressRS team devs don't matter. They don't do anything good anyway. You know, they just sit there all the time and, you know, release updates and software that no one really asks for, and things that really don't help anyone. You know, you don't really... I don't know the last time the ExpressRS dev team really did something that could help the community. They spend most of their time just adding useless features. Here's an example, right, of a bloody useless feature that they've added, is this. ARM DJI-03 directly from an ELRS receiver. Now, who needs this? What possible reason is there for wanting to ARM 03? It's got a low power mode that doesn't work properly. So now they've spent all this time developing a feature that means that you can take like an $8 or $10 ExpressRS receiver and use it as the arming command for DJI-03. And in fact, even if you don't want to use ExpressRS, they've even shown you how to add some code further down that allows you to basically force it to arm on boot. So now, instead of spending like $20 or $30 on a little device or having to have a flight controller, now you can go and buy yourself an $8 or a $10 ExpressRS receiver and do it for that. But again, just who wants this stuff? No one wanted this stuff. It's a waste of everyone's time. It really is. Shambles. A video will be coming. It's probably why Carl didn't support them, because of they waste all their money on incense sticks and beard oil for the one who likes pictures of himself and praise to his receiver modules. Any money you donate to the ExpressRS dev team gets wasted on beard oil and incense sticks. So don't support them. Don't go to their website to support them. Don't go to their Open Collective page, because no one should go to their Open Collective page and donate, because anything that you do donate will end up wasted on beard oil, incense sticks, and then images of themselves that they can make effigies of and put up on the wall that they pray to each night. But yeah, no one should bother supporting them because of that, because it's just a waste of time. You know, bloody who asked for this crap? I don't know. Anywho, now we've jumped the shark. Someone had a question, and I don't know what it was. Please put it in the chat, and I will try and answer it. Any news about O3 and Goggles 3 working properly? Yes, at the start of this video, and no, it doesn't. Sabang, what was your question, my friend? Have a beer, have fun, lol. I need a blunty. Yes, it is at the start. Basically, it's not fixed. There you go. There's the if you want the lowdown. Going from analog transmitter to Spectrum was a massive leap. Every big company makes their own digital version of it, but only ELRS blew them out the water. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you copy FR Sky's work. Sabang says, I'm using HDZero goggles with rapid fire analog module. I did use the headphones jack on the goggles, but wasn't hearing anything. What am I missing here? I've never done live audio. I don't know. Live audio through HDZero, I have not done that. I thought the headphone jack was microphone input. I'd need to check that. If you're on Discord, come on my Discord and we'll try and discuss it. It's not one I can answer on the live stream, but we'll have to go on that. Glenn Carter, hey Mad, integrals are given intermittent black screen sometimes. Only right. Only the right, then both. If you're... Right, the first thing I would do is try covering the proximity sensor with tape. I do this on most of my DJI goggles anyway. Analog audio feed on HDZero from an analog Fox Europeaper VTX with a built-in mic. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I tend to tape the sensor on mine because I do a lot of bench testing and it does my head in. Try taping the sensor and see how it behaves. If it doesn't work, I would send them back. It's not normal. You shouldn't get disconnects on the displays on DJI goggles 2, 3, Integra. It's not normal. But work with the... If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the middle, there's a proximity sensor. Let me just peel the tape back. There is the proximity sensor that senses your face. I would cover it first. No, you don't have to pay to join. It's free to join. You just have to get authorized. It's cover the port first and see how it goes. Is the inactivity alarm? Yes. Ever heard of Hello Radio Sky? Seems like a scam based on the TX16 renders. Claims it has gyro control voice input AI. I have. I saw this. I don't think they reached out to me, but I saw these renders. I think it was on Facebook. I think it was on Facebook. It might have been AliExpress. Andrew Newton's done a review on it, so it technically looks like it exists. I think they reached out to me, you know. Let me check on my phone. 1 second. Actually, I won't check on my phone because it's gone flat. I'm 99% they reached out to me. And I'd be honest, I looked at this and thought, what's the point of reviewing this? It's clearly a TX16 copy. It comes with gimbal LEDs. But I really don't know what I can say about it. It just looks like another copy, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Do you know what it looks like? It looks like what someone has left Jumper or Radiomaster, probably Radiomaster, and set up their own business. That's what it looks like. What receiver system is it using? Is it Express ELRS certified? So here's their receivers. So let's click on the V16. Is running HTX, apparently. I'm sure there was something about this posted. Was it this just showed up on my doorstep yesterday? Oh, Captain Bryce, you've had one. Okay. There you go. So, there you go. You've got an Express ELRS dev that's got one in his hands. I'm really not sure what the point of this radio is. It was, yeah. Look, I like something different. It literally is a TX16 clone. It is literally a clone. To me, I suspect someone's left Radiomaster, is what it looks like. Someone's just left and set up their own business. Yeah, a lot of them use the word AI right now. It's funny, I'm in the middle of I've just finished a review on a quick solder station, which will be going live this week. And it's got AI voice control. The voice control works really well, but it didn't need the word AI in it. It just needed voice control. But they've put AI in it because everyone puts AI in everything now. I'm sure they reached out to me. Let me just check. And I may have ignored it. Let me just have a look. Let me have a look in the bin. I can't see it. I am pretty sure they did, you know. The problem I've got is if I've deleted it, it's probably gone. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. The TX16 just felt too big. Yeah, it's way too big a radio. Way too big a radio. Even for me, even my small ladylike hands. Just too big a radio. Now, whilst we are talking about radios, and before we go to the open section where we talk about anything, we should talk about Radiomaster, because this has sort of slipped under the radar. So, if you are a user of this, the Radiomaster Pocket, finally there has been a little bit of a surprise. And the surprise is Radiomaster are releasing AG01 Nano CNC gimbals. Yes, you can have the CNC loveliness on the Pocket. Now, they're going to be $59.99. It really did slip under the radar, this one. I sort of knew about this for forever, but it took forever to come out. But yeah, they are releasing these for the Pocket. Really, really cool. Now look at these. These are also going to be fantastic for custom radio guys. People who want to make their own radios. A lot of people are going to love them. A lot of people are going to love them. So yeah, the AG01 Nanos. What's not to like? Specifically designed for the Pocket. Replaceable threaded Hall sensors. Space for threaded sticks, not Hall sensors. Price is pretty good as well. Really nice. Really nice indeed. Quad ball bearings. What is not to like? Yeah, you can unscrew the sticks. And you've also now obviously got the Pocket Crush as well. I didn't get one of the Pocket Crushes to have a look at on the channel. I have the standard clear Pocket. But you do have the Pocket. That blue is... Oof. That green is amazing. Same as the Boxer. That blue, though, that blue is... Do the AG01s work in the T15 too? Work is a loose term. Can you fit them if you grind the corner off? Yes, but you have to grind the corner of the gimbals down quite a lot as well. It's not, let's shave a couple of mil of unneeded metal off. It's, let's remove a load of metal. I think Jumper are idiots, and they've messed up that you can't fit the AG01s into that radio. In fact, when you look inside the T15, I do show it in my video that you can't fit them. But when you look at it, right... Let me find the video. Bardwell, I think, only just put his out. I did mine ages ago. Here it is. I show it in this, and I cannot get my head around why Jumper designed the PCB this way. It just makes no sense at all. No sense whatsoever. Why would you just do this? So somewhere I do a teardown. Let me get through. So the issue here, when you start looking in here, is, look, if you look here, these corners of the PCB are intentionally going out, right? And it stops you fitting the CNC gimbals. If they'd have done this and made this come straight down and then like that, which they clearly could have, this side's a little bit tight, but you could have repositioned this all so there was space. But it now means that the gimbal would have to go over this area here. Do you know what always makes me laugh in a lot of these radios? The sheer size of the STM32 that they use in them. Look at the size of the package on that chip. Now, the IC inside is probably tiny. Look at the package size. It's probably a very old node used on these to try and keep the costs down. These are probably so cheap, it's crazy. Do I have a look at, what is it? The STM30, what is it? It's an STM32. It's the STM32 F429. STM32 F429. Big package. So STM32 429, and what is it? I'm trying to see it. 429. Keep it still, you moron. BIT6. BIT6. BIT6, I suspect. Massive packages on them. Massive packages on these. I wonder how much these ICs are. There's no way, right, they're paying $16 as it is on my... Look at it, £16 on Mouser. There's no way... There's no way in hell they're paying that. Nice to have a big package. There's no way they're freaking $19 each. No way in hell. I've still not got my head around why these radios have such big ICs. If anyone knows, post it. Any of them, surely someone from like the Edge TX dev team must know. There's gotta be some specific reason for the package being so big on these. $9. See, that's high. They'll be paying less than that, obviously. Lux BGA. Yeah, that one. No, it is pin PGA, look. I was expect integrated LCD controller. Ah, good. Do you know Captain Bry? That's why he's a member of the dev team. LCD controller, so it needs the pins on a bigger package. Good point. Forgot about that. I forgot about that. So if we look at the specs, there should be a display controller built in. Yeah, here you go. Look, LCD parallel interface 8080 or 680 modes. There you go. And it has an LCD TFT controller, fully programmable resolution. I wonder how those packages look inside. I wonder if there's two separate dies in one of them. Be really cool to tear one of them down and have a look. I wonder if it's inside two separate dies with an internal linkage. I'd be surprised if it's the same piece of silicon. They probably have an LCD controller. Could be. But you'd be surprised. They do lay sometimes multiple packages out inside. But yeah, so that's when we start pinning it out. You then start to see that chip can run Doom. Yeah, it's not a particularly powerful SoC, and that was the bit I was sort of confused about. Because when you look at it, F4 running at 180 megs, you know, it's not a biggie. But it's the fact it's got the display controller, isn't it? Here we go. Went past it. Completely forgot about that. Come on. Where's the pinout? That's the BGA. That's the BGA. There it is. Oh my god. Yeah, look at that. Look at the pinout on that bad boy. Okay, so that is the subjects covered for tonight. If you guys have got any questions, now the time to put them in the chat. If there's anything, I'm just trying to think whilst I wait for the questions to come in. Did I see the new TBS ESC 12 amp ESC only 12S ESC only €50? I haven't caught up on the TBS Lounge. Someone sent me something. Have I been mentioned on the TBS Lounge? Does anyone know? Because someone just sent me something that basically said about TBS hating me. If anyone's watched the TBS Lounge, yeah, I'm wondering if my name came up, because I have been quite brutal about the gorilla mount. Did monkey mount? Did Skynet? Did what? Did ESC stupid bot pattern? Sorry. Can I a nice PC chair for the larger gentleman? Secret Lab. I can highly recommend these chairs. They are very good. The first one I had was a load of shit, but the second one's pretty good. Yeah, sorry. Hate magnet these days. Well, that's what happens when you release a stupid ESC mount. I'm sorry, but I still think it's a stupid mount. And I'm going to keep saying it's a stupid mount. I haven't seen Team Black Sheep. So, let's be fair. We're always fair on this channel. Even when I don't agree with something, we will always talk about it and show it. Apart from Rotor Riot, and I even showed them last week. The Lucid, is it? Yes, I did see it. See, that looks quite nice. I tell you this, though, and I'm going to say this. I don't know how TBS intend to make money. And here's my point, okay? Let me just show you something. Right, FetTech are a European manufacturer, okay, of products. Now, like it or like it, they make some really nice products. But their products aren't incredibly cheap. Ah, right, okay, Moscow. You know, if we're talking... The Mini AIO is quite cheap, mind. But if we look at ESCs... Okay, the FetTechs aren't that dear. Not, you know, look, the 65 amp, 99. I think that is, you know, it's on the higher end, but okay. I think 50 quid on a... I wonder why they're releasing a... Wings. Are they releasing any new wings? Have they had any wings, any new wings for a while? Have they done anything? In wings situation for a while? Because they used to make some nice... kits and plug and plays. They've still got the carabiner. Huh. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say it, but yeah. They've got their kit. Over 300 amps. That's quite interesting. If that ESC... I'm not surprised looking at it. It does look quite beefy, to be fair to him. And look, I'm not against TBS. I'm actually the one that put out a video when they said they were back and after all their issues and wished them all the best. I like TBS. I actually like the brand. TBS is one of the very first brands I bought products from in FPV. I don't know Trappy. I like, you know, I still have a TBS Discovery. I've built Discoveries. I like the products. I still think the Gorilla mount is stupid and unnecessary. That doesn't mean I don't like the brand. Now, from TBS's perspective, they can take that feedback on board and they can accept it. They can shove it up their bottoms or they can ignore it. That's entirely their choice. But I'm allowed to be critical about it based on my experience, and they're allowed to be positive about it based on their experience. It doesn't mean I don't like TBS. I actually do like TBS products. I've always liked TBS products. I still have the little couch here somewhere for my action cam that's strapped on the front of the Discovery to stop you getting vibrations. It's made of this really strange foam. But again, my criticism of the Gorilla mount is it feels unnecessary. That's my argument. Now, this ESC looks nice. I can see why it's got a big current handling capacity. You can see the tracks. Look at them going down there. I like that. That's really quite nicely done. It's going to be a pig to mount. God help you if you want to mount it flat, though. Why wouldn't you not spread some of them out either side? Just to try and make it easier. There's the shunt for the current sensor. It's amazing how little you can put on an ESC now. Look, let's be honest. There's nothing special about an ESC. It's look, if you look at this, you've got 6 FETs. You know, there's only 3 pins on each FET. Your gate, your ins and your outs. On the back, you've got your motor driver. You've got your current shunt. And you've got capacitors. It's not particularly special. I do like it, though. I think it's nicely done. Vired pads. Would have been nice if they'd have been castellated on the outside edge. Yeah, look, see, that's a bit of a shame that you don't have full castellation down there. That would have been good through to both sides of the board, in my opinion. Doesn't necessarily need it, but that would have been nice. Also, nice to see a separate cat port on the side there. Very handy. So you got your PWM, your receive, your TX, and your ground. Be nice if they made some small ones and we went back to singles again. Singles would be cool to go with. Yeah, I'll be honest, there's no complaints on that. That's a nice looking product. AM32 as well. Good to see. And you've got to give it to TBS for supporting AM32. I do need to order in the Gorilla and the... because as much as I don't like the mount, I do need to order in... Cool, they got Jesus, they got Kiss Ultras in stock. Rocking Horse crap is available. Look at this! Rocking Horse crap is available. Look at that! Who'd have thought? Where's TBS from? Hong Kong now, I believe. The reason for the TX port is the M2 who supports crossfire control, the ESC. Very nice. So you can basically come straight out of a crossfire receiver into the ESC, I suppose. I guess, in the crossfire protocol and not PWM. One port, multiple ESCs. Right, so you're almost doing it like CAN bus. So do you give each ESC an ID then, over Crossfire? Just waiting on the chat. Now, as I've said already, if you have any questions, please do put it down below. From me, that's about all there has been to see this week. There really hasn't been a lot going on other than that. I'm going to be starting to get back on the not AM32. I'm going to be starting to get back on to it's in front of me. Right, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to start getting back on to OpenIPC testing this week. The whole DJI thing and the whole thing has set me back. I now need to try the Mario AIO. I'm trying to decide how to do these videos because at the moment, I need to do more flight testing before I want to put out the first video. But I'm thinking of doing like a first video going over the hardware. You need to watch the new Mr. Steel video. That explains a lot. I'll have to go watch it then. But yeah, I want to get back on the OpenIPC testing. But look, you're going to see people push out content on this and be saying lots of great things, lots of bad things, good things. I'm covering it, but I'm doing it in my pace, in my way. Cadex did release a goggles extension board. I discussed it last week. I don't feel like expressing some more horrible thoughts. Frankly, it looks like a crap show with regards to the problem it's trying to fix. I think there are better ways it could have been done. It is what it is. Shock horror, Cadex end up having to backtrack on something that they've got wrong. Right now, If the truth of the matter is, if you look at where Cadex is today, we still don't have the V2 system, but that's not important, okay? The reality is your existing system still works well. The reality is we are waiting on the app to really work, because it doesn't. The Wi-Fi functionality doesn't work properly. There's still lots that haven't been fixed. They were meant to be sending me the new board, but I haven't received it. I ain't ordering one. If they want to send me one, they will. About the only thing I would like to have a look at is the analog latency via the board, but that should be the same as well anyway. Could OpenIPC, someone just said, OpenIPC hardware fit on a Whoop? Technically, it could be, it's smaller than HDZero. So OpenIPC's ASIC, it's only one ASIC. It's not two ASICs like HDZero. So technically, OpenIPC could make a smaller and lighter AIO than HDZero, because you would need, yeah, smaller and lighter. Yeah, absolutely. No reason why it couldn't. One ASIC, power delivery, RF stages. It's the same thing. HDZero somewhat suffers from the fact that it's got to have three ASICs, one small one and two bigger ones for every VTX. HDZero has, you know, it is chipset silicon heavy is HDZero. You know, when you look at a HDZero VTX, so let me just jump to the overhead and find one. There should be one in front of me here. Here it is. Whoop whoop. So when we look at the HDZero VTX, you've got your two pieces of silicon. So you've got your two DiviMath chipsets. You got your main, you got your RF multiplexer, you've got your HDZero chipset, you've got your analog converter, and then you've got your power amplifier. All of the rest of this, everything on this side of the board is power delivery, right? So all of this is power delivery. This is somewhat overly complex simply because of the amount of voltages needed on this board. You know, there are lots of different voltages needed. OpenIPC genuinely can be one ASIC. That's all it needs to be because of the way the system is. It doesn't need, it's like Avatar HD somewhat in that respect. Although you've still got to have the RF side of things. One man unmanned just did a video on OpenC showing 9 milliseconds of latency. I've not seen anything that low. I don't know how he tested it. I would find it, I'd be shocked that low. I'll be honest. I would be no one has done 9 milliseconds is almost not possible unless it's first pixel, because you can't even get a frame in 9 milliseconds. So I'd be questioning how that's possible. Because remember, the lowest you can get for a full frame is 14 milliseconds at 90 frames a second on HDZero. You could get it to maybe 12 milliseconds on 120 frames a second. But look, if we take HDZero, we know the HDZero system latency is like 1 to 2 milliseconds. So you can get first pixel on HDZero in 3 milliseconds. I've seen that. It is insane, but I have seen it. But there is no way someone is measuring 9 milliseconds to a full frame. It's just not possible. And if people are measuring it with smartphone cameras and stuff like that, it's not the right way of doing it. Can I see it? What I would say is this. The lowest, I would be astonished if it could get below 15. And that HDZero is without doubt the lowest at 14 milliseconds full frame on the Nano 90. I've seen it with my own eyes. DJI won't get to that. I don't ever see DJI get into that. I don't ever see Avatar HD get into that. I would find it hard to believe any of the compressed RF systems can do that. The reason Carl can do it is basically HDZero is black magic. And whilst a lot of people sit here and say about HDZero, oh, it's not really digital, oh, it doesn't look better than analog, they are doing something no one else is doing, which is joint source channel coding. And that is how Carl is doing it. It bins a lot of the information. There are HDZero goggles, a box goggle no one ever covers. Well, there was the Scout HD, which I covered. I think there's an Emax box goggle. Emax, someone asked me earlier about the Emax system. They've not reached out to me to have a look. So I need to probably order that in. Is it even available to order yet? I might not bother. I'm not even sure I see the point of it. I might. In some ways, you've got the run cam, you've got the OpenIPC ear unit. You know, that is the OpenIPC ear unit is by far the best quad-based solution today. Hot new products. What have they got on their website? Are they listed this available to buy yet, even? Or not? No, it's not even listed on the website, is it? They make some really nice drones, do Emax. They really do. I might reach out to them and ask them to send me a kit, because I do have a contact with Emax. Their Tiny Hawk drones are phenomenal. Probably where Emax should really come into the OpenIPC world is if OpenIPC if they can make sort of like whoops with it built in. That's where I really see Emax coming into it. I need to catch up on the OpenIPC website, the websites, because not the websites, the Telegram, because I just haven't had a chance to, and so much changes on there. That's the problem. Okay. Right, we're going to leave this one here tonight. I want to say a huge thank you for spending some time with me tonight. Please do consider checking out my Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee, also FPV Wiki, also my Discord. Look after yourselves. If DJI actually listen, I will put a separate update out, but that's probably the last conversation I'll have on DJI now, unless it's fixed, and I'll just give updates on live streams as time goes on. My favourite tier choice is Tetley. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you soon.